Hi, I'm Alex Fosh. Welcome to the video. Today in this training, we're talking about intuitive eating, which is a unique approach that I've adopted myself to transform my physique and health, and also apply to hundreds of other men and women to help them to their fitness goals. This isn't like any other training you've ever seen around health and fitness. This isn't track your macros. It's not calorie deficit. It's not cut your carbs out. Take a look, pen and paper, enjoy, prepare your mind to be blown, and stay until the very end because we have a Q&A interactive where loads of the questions you have are answered directly by me. Enjoy. Welcome to the Intuitive Fat Loss Workshop. So here's what we're looking at today. The real problem with modern diets, healthy meals failing you, the truth about taste and nutrients, the intuitive approach, how to eat for easy fat loss, and then the Q&A at the end. So the real problem, fat loss comes down to a calorie deficit, and most people try to create a deficit by cutting food. Sounds logical, but they're cutting food from a diet that's already missing what the body needs, instead of choosing foods that make the deficit easy. When you rely on simple restriction, the normal approach of cutting it down, you end up with less enjoyment, fewer nutrients, and more inconvenience. And if your meals are bland, nutrient poor, or annoying to prep, good luck sticking to the plan. You're essentially setting up for failure without knowing. The healthy meal that ruins your diet. So picture this, you're on your second chicken breast and salad of the day. You've been told it's healthy because it's low calorie, but your body disagrees. It's bland, it's not satisfying, it's low in key nutrients, and it doesn't stop snacking. You're not excited to eat it, you're not nourished by it, and eventually you fall off track. These meals cause you to just fall off the wagon. It's not because you're weak, it's because the healthy meal itself sets you up to fail. What you perceive as healthy isn't serving you in a way you need to be served. This is the truth no one tells you. The taste and flavor of our meals comes from the nutrients inside them. The nutrients create satiety and satisfaction, and then the satiety, being satiated, actually drives the fat loss. It's all linked together. And when real food tastes good, it's usually because your body recognizes, it's because your body can recognize and taste the nutrients within those foods that it's what it needs. So although something like a chicken salad is low calorie and you think that's what you're optimizing for, it doesn't taste good, it tastes bland. And that's correlated to the lack of nutrients in the food. And really, we want to taste good because the nutrients are going to give us the satiety, which is going to drive the fat loss. So let's flip the script here from the typical dieting approach. Chicken salad, right? Good dieting food. Let's compare it to 3 chicken thighs on their own, which is definitely not seen as a typical dieting food. Well, with thighs, you get way more essential micronutrients, as shown here in this screenshot. You get a lot more flavor, you get a lot more satisfaction, and less prep because the more nutrient dense your food is, the better it tastes, and so the less prep it actually needs. Thighs taste so much better because they're more nutrient dense. Your senses detect those essential nutrients, and so it tastes good. So the mistake you've been taught and why you've tried and failed so many diets is you spent your whole life optimizing for the wrong thing. You spent it optimizing for calorie reduction, removing fats, getting rid of flavor. And that's essentially dieting summed up. When really, your objective, even if you want to lose weight, should be to get healthier and therefore lose weight as a byproduct. And to get healthier, you should be optimizing for nutrient density. When you do that, the deficit becomes easy. So how to eat nutrient-dense foods? How do you know what's actually nutrient-dense? Because it's all well and good me saying that. Simply eat whole, single-ingredient foods that you actually enjoy. Your body welcomes them. Like I said, your senses taste the flavor. And the flavor is the nutrients is the satiety. Like I said, it's all connected. And just like your body tastes the lack of nutrients in a generic, bland, fat loss meal like the chicken salad, despite all the variety in there, all the colors, it gets excited when it tastes nutrient-rich foods. But what about the calorie deficit? Why are we just eating what tastes good? What about the calorie deficit? Fat has calories. Rah, 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 rah. Well, when you give your body the raw materials it needs, i.e., the stuff that tastes right to it, your brain tells you, thanks, I'm good. You get full up. As a result, you don't overeat. You then stay full and satisfied. The brain tells you when it needs food again, and the calorie deficit happens on autopilot. You work with your body, it's in sync. There's no tracking, there's no stress. There's no ultimate restriction, starving yourself from the food you're eating and then binging after. It's purely listening to your senses, what your body welcomes within the diet. It's going to tell you when you're full because you've given it those raw materials. And naturally, you're going to be in a deficit because your body works with you. So here is what the human diet should revolve around. So among real whole foods, like I've focused on, you want to prioritize protein and fat sources. These should dominate your meals. And these are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. So the raw building blocks your body thrives on are meat, fish, eggs, dairy, animal fats, and some fruit oils like avocado and olives. By fruit oils, like I mean in whole form, but the oil versions are okay as well. So of these foods, eat the ones you enjoy most on repeat. Eat until your body says that's enough. Let your biology do the work for you. And you now enjoy the food you're eating whilst losing fat. So the old way versus the new way. The old way of losing weight is based on restriction. It's based on cutting out calories from a diet that you already eat that isn't serving you. The new way is based on getting nutrients in. The old way is track everything to ensure you stay in a deficit. The new way is simply eat until you're full, not when your app or coach or whoever tells you to stop. It's about listening to your body, right? Because your body wouldn't want you to overeat. It wants you to survive and thrive. And overeating leads to obesity, which leads to death inevitably. It goes against our intuition. The old way is eating at fixed times. The new way is eating when you're hungry, when your body asks for food. The old way is eating healthy foods you fucking hate. The new way is only eating foods you like the taste of. Like I said, the flavor is the nutrients. The old way requires loads of prep to make the bland food palatable, all the seasonings, all the combinations of ingredients, all the cooking. The new way is simpler, tastier meals because you're just eating the stuff you like, even if it doesn't look like a meal. Like we showed you there, the 3 chicken thighs on their own versus the, colorful chicken breast and salad. What was the difference between the nutrients there? The chicken thighs had way more nutrients. It's a lot healthier. It's also going to leave you feeling more satisfied. The old way is cutting calories but starving your body of nutrients. The new way is using your senses to choose nutrient-dense foods. The old way causes a high relapse and starving yourself or getting bored, falling off some way. The new way is feeling satisfied and staying consistent. And just, there's like a big, the typical way of dieting doesn't feel like you're doing it out of love. It feels like you're punishing yourself. It's quite a toxic thing. Whereas the new way is I'm going to eat the foods I love. I'm going to make myself feel as good as possible. As a result, I'm going to fill up early doors, and then my calorie maintenance is there, and that's going to make up the deficit. And with this, it's a lot more convenient to lose weight. You enjoy what you're eating. You haven't got to spend hours prepping meals, and you get in killer shape to go with it. So that's the protocol. If you want my one-to-one help in implementing this into your life so that you can lose fat on autopilot and fully understand how your body works, I have a program that helps you improve your nutrition, your overall health, but also your body composition if you want to do some specific training to build up certain areas. George will drop an application form in the Zoom chat. So if you want to do that, feel free, book in a chat with me. If not, no worries. So yeah, look out for that message in the Zoom chat. But in the meantime, guys, I wanted to leave this super open to you. What questions do you have for me? Ask me anything.
Yeah, so I noticed you you didn't mention carbs at all. Isn't that like kind of critical for energy and such?
Good question. So with carbs, I didn't say cut them out. I said prioritize proteins and fats. I eat carbs when I fancy them, but only when I fancy them, not religiously. I don't shove grains and different stuff into all of my main meals because they're not nutrient dense, therefore they're not filling. So you're just chucking extra calories into your meal and it's not going to actually give you the satisfaction and the raw materials that your body needs. So I'm not saying cut them out. I'm saying eat them when you fancy them. Because, like you say, Archie, energy, sometimes your body might require extra glucose. And you can bet it will tell you. How else have we evolved to survive, right? We listen to our senses, we do what our body tells us to do. In terms of energy, fat is the preferred source of energy in the body, and the body can actually make its own glucose for specific functions like running the brain, etc. But back to my point, it's all about intuition. If you
And
fancy
how about chicken and rice?
chicken and rice, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the staple of bodybuilding, right? Chicken and rice. That's not a good way to get in shape because you're getting
Okay.
a load of excess rice, which doesn't have nutritional value, especially if you want to lose weight. So really, you want to swap the rice for something that's going to give you additional nutrients. Rice on its
What would
own,
you suggest?
yeah. So like just on that point, rice on its own, it's not a it's not a flavorable thing. So you know that it's low in nutrients. So you could have some additional meat with it. You could have some additional fat, like butter. If you want some carbs with it, you can have some carbs with it. I'm not closing that off. But if you're really trying to optimize and improve the nutrients that you're eating, you want to have some kind of additional protein or some fat with it. An easy thing to do would
Okay.
be to have some eggs with it, like have some chicken and make some eggs with it, and you get good proteins and fats. It's going to keep you full all day. Because
That'd
like,
be a good idea, actually. I
let's
never
say,
thought of that.
yeah, because let's say you're having like you've got chicken and you've got 300 calories of rice with it. If you were
Mm.
to have 300 calories worth of eggs cooked in butter, for example, that's going to be a lot more filling than the rice because it's way more nutrient dense. So
Okay.
that's a simple swap
Well,
to make.
I can't do standard butter because I've got IBS. So I'd have to have the lactose intolerant butter.
Sure. Do whatever works for you. Like I said, in that
Okay.
list, like eat the animal fats you like to eat the meats you like to eat the fish you like to eat, the eggs, whatever form, um, and then carbs on top of that if you fancy, but not religiously.
Okay. Wicked.
Cool.
Just quickly, Alex. Chris has put a comment in. I'll
Yes.
quickly give that a read.
Thank you. Does this diet require supplements, protein shakes? You answered your question, Chris. If you eat the right way, if you listen to your intuition, you will naturally get everything your body needs. The reason why you sort of crave different whole foods is because your body intuitively knows the nutrients that are inside those that you might be deficient in that you would need to supplement if you didn't eat that food, if that makes sense. So if you simply eat according to your intuition, you prioritize proteins and fats, you're naturally going to get everything you need. If you're deficient in anything, if your body's requiring more protein or more specific nutrients, it will tell you and you'll get those hunger cravings coming through. And from there, it's really cool. You can just listen to what you're craving and what you're asking for, and you can give it that and you'll feel amazing.
That's good.
Right. Who knew being healthy was so simple, right?
No, no.
I have a question.
Farah.
Hello, hello. So I don't want to undermine you. That I think what you've said is fantastic. How easy is it to implement something like that? And do you adopt it in a higher percentage ratio with a lower percentage, like an 80-20? Is there space for you to enjoy things that you know is not good for you, but you want them anyway?
It depends on how far you want to take it. If you want to be 100% on, you're going to feel 100% good. If you want to have the odd night where you go for a booze up, or if you have a pizza, like, so long as the majority of the time you're on, you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on how much you're trying to optimize. Obviously, the stuff that we know isn't nutrient dense is going to reduce how good you feel in a sense, but 80-20 would apply perfectly here. Like, you'll feel amazing doing 80-20 with this.
Cool. Can't live without bagels.
Well, there you go. Have them with some protein and fat.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, great question.
It was.
Yeah, because I'm not.
You mentioned like nutrients a lot, but like there's fruits are nutrient dense, right?
Nah.
They're not.
Nah.
Yeah.
In terms of the essential vitamins and minerals that humans thrive off, fruits don't fit into that category. They're a good tool for hydration. I still eat fruit, by the way, guys. If I fancy some fruit, I'll have it, but I don't religiously eat fruit because it would just be calories coming in without much nutritional value. So it's not like, it shouldn't be the fundamental of your diet. It's not what fucking evolved the human body. And if we look back into nature, fruits you only really get in summertime. It's not something you'd be eating year round if we're looking at it from an evolutionary standpoint as well.
Well, I had at work before I went back on checkout and self-scan, I had started having overnight oats
You
for
asking
breakfast in the morning.
overnight oats?
So what would you suggest?
So what I tell my clients is, for breakfast, only if you're hungry, number one. Don't just put food in because you think you need breakfast. If your body isn't asking for it, don't give it to it. So breakfast is either eat nothing if you don't want it, or high protein, high fat. Like I've said before, it's going to give you all the essential nutrients you need, and it's going to keep you full for ages. Something like overnight oats, it's got some protein, doesn't have the fat, and it's got an excess of carbs, which aren't going to be filling. It's quick release energy. So if you replace that with, I don't know, a load of full fat Greek yogurt, that's high protein, high fat, eggs, some kind of meat, I promise you, you're going to feel so much more full, and it will make fat loss so easy. It feels weird having something like meat for breakfast, but it wasn't weird.
No, it doesn't. I've had meat before for breakfast.
Yeah. It
Very European.
years ago. Yeah.
Every time I'm in Berlin, I have meat for breakfast. You said high fat Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
That seems alien. I buy fat free.
Yeah. Fats are essential. Fats are essential. They build hormones. They keep us warm. Our brain is fucking mostly made of fat. There's been a shift in dieting culture. There was an experiment done in 1950, which led to fat being villainized. And it was flawed. It was cherry-picked data so that the person running the experiment could prove his hypothesis. Since we've eaten less fats, we've plummeted. Depression rates are up. People don't even know what gender they are. Hormones are all over the place. I'm a big believer that is due to fats being reduced. So without blowing your question out of proportion there, full fat is more nutrient dense because it has more fat, whereas low fat is protein and carbs. So the full fat is going to be more filling and more satisfying. If you simply taste the difference between fat-free and full fat, you will taste the improvement of the full fat. It'll be way more creamier, way more nourishing. And again, that's your senses detecting those additional nutrients within that. So I'd recommend that.
Well, as I said before, I can't really have full fat Greek yogurt because of my IBS. I can only have certain standards of like milk and whatnot. So I'd have to go on with a Alpro soya yogurt.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend that. Like while I've got you here and I can coach you one-to-one, I wouldn't recommend going with soy yogurt. If you can't tolerate yogurt, and again, guys, this goes back to the whole thesis of this presentation. If your body doesn't want it, don't give it. Just because I've given you a list of nutrient-dense foods, if you can't tolerate dairy, simply don't eat dairy. You've got other options on that list.
Yeah.
Don't force something down that you think is right for you, because you might as well force that dry chicken salad down you that you don't want. Right? So
I don't like dried chicken. Ugh.
No one
Too
does.
bad.
No one does. No one does. All right, Lisa's got a question. What's the best way to include a great amount of protein and healthy fats if I were to cook a vegetarian meal? Lisa, I'd say the foods that I've advised. So full fat Greek yogurt is obviously vegetarian. It's going to give you high protein, healthy fats. Eggs. Eggs are going to have to be your best friend. I hope you like eggs. And cheese. Cheese is another good high protein, high fat. So if you can marry eggs and cheese, maybe have like, I don't know, 2 meals a day, 1 meal, dollop of Greek yogurt, another meal, some kind of omelet, chucking some red peppers in there, tastes good, and cheese, but have a bunch of eggs. That's what I'd recommend. Like outside of that, for vegetarian, there's not many other options, to be honest. If you're trying to like feel as good as possible. Do we need to be looking at macros or just start with protein and fat? So when you say look at macros, you're referring to bringing carbs in as well. If you base your meals around protein and fat and intuitively eat carbs when you fancy them, if you fancy some rice with your meat, have a bit of rice with it. If you fancy some fruit, you know, you see an apple, you get excited by it, have a piece, have an apple, right? And so by doing that, you're not going to need to really track macros and stuff like that. Because like I said, if you're prioritizing the proteins and fats, you're naturally going to be full so soon anyway. So if you're going to eat it this way, you don't need to track because you're giving your body the raw materials it needs and you're going to be full. Let me know if that does or doesn't answer the question, Stephanie. You can type that in the chat or you can unmute.
Alex, what about avocados?
Avocados, yeah, they were on my list of recommendations. Yeah, they're good. They're not amazing. They're not a superfood or anything like that. They definitely shouldn't be the fundamental of your meal, but they're a good addition.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah. But if you're splashing money on avocados, like you're better off.
I don't splash money on avocados. I'll get them now and again when sometimes they're on offer.
Yeah,
work.
On offer, or if you fancy it. Like I'd say you're better off putting your money into like chicken wings. Like you can get a whole thing of chicken wings for $1.99. You get all the proteins and fats that you need. For what's that like? It's probably like 1.5 avocados you can get for that price. So yeah, they're very expensive. Is Pepsi Max okay to drink? Yeah, I actually did a video about this recently. It's fine. Like, obviously, it's not as good as water. You don't need me to tell you that, right? It's not going to ruin your fat loss. It's not going to cause you to release insulin and fuck up your fat loss. So It's okay to drink. If you just want reassurance, Jamie, it's okay to drink. So things like mayo or peanut butter are not the enemy in moderation. Nothing is the enemy in moderation, but mayo and peanut butter aren't healthy foods. They're not nutrient dense. They're going to be a net negative to include in your diet from a nutrition standpoint. That's bottom line of it. Not nutrient dense, therefore not filling.
I've got a quick question.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Fire away, George.
What would you say to someone who's afraid of having too many eggs because of cholesterol content, etc.? Like, what would you say to someone that's scared of it?
Like, this is a topic for a whole nother presentation, cholesterol. But what I would say is don't always believe what you're told at surface level. Don't just take the fact that cholesterol is bad. Look into things a little bit deeper. Question it. Understand what other ties are associated with that statement. And a lot of the time, there's money at stake with these things. So what I would say is experiment and see how you feel. If I'm advising you to eat more eggs and you see they're nutrient dense and you want to try eating more of them, go for it. The best way of knowing how healthy you are is how you feel on a daily basis, not what someone tells you. And often what someone tells you, money talks. There's some kind of industry that's pressuring people to say these things. High fat is the way. Eggs contain high fat. Eggs contain every nutrient the body needs. Eat more eggs. Watch what happens. And it's not clogged arteries. I promise you. Like I said, that's a topic for another presentation. It's highly likely you're going to clog your arteries from eating more cholesterol. And it's highly likely you're going to get a lot healthier.
Have you seen these results in mainly younger people or people of a certain age who are past 40 like myself?
That's a great question. And this is
because I think I'm getting denser as I get older, and I don't mean up here.
Yeah. No, this is something my dad says. He's like, oh, I'm eating the fat on all my meat and all my chicken and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, like I can't do that. You can do that because you're young. I can't get away with it because I'm older. No, humans have a diet. If anything, if you're trying to not get as dense, you'd want to put the nutrients in so you don't overeat. The fats contain the essential nutrients. Eat more fats. Fat has nothing to do with body fat. It's just the same word. So if anything, as you get older, I would say it's even more important.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm not at death's door just yet. I'm only 42, even though I look 18. But that's good. Thank you.
Awesome, mate. Chris has a question. The issue I have is flavorings, doing chicken thighs. You like to say barbecue chicken thighs. It's the sauce, which might be bad. How do you get around that? Not the food, but what you do. Yeah. I understand, Chris. Once you cut out non-essential stuff, you realize how much you don't need. For example, if you experiment with just putting salt on your chicken thighs, and I'm just sharing this from experience, like you'll realize how unnecessary all of the stuff you coat it with is. You've just been indoctrinated to do that. You've been sold products that do that. I don't know what the exact root of that is. Maybe George can back me up here because like we eat in a very similar way. But when you take stuff out and really simplify your meals, you realize, yeah, how much is unnecessary. Even stuff to like onion and garlic, things that people think are fundamentals of flavor. Like it's so unnecessary and the meal actually tastes way better without it. Like you guys probably don't believe me. You gotta try this yourself to understand. But Chris, what I would say is don't overcook your meat for one, because that just makes it taste worse and non-palatable. And believe that you can eat chicken thighs without barbecue sauce on them. If you can't for whatever reason, I would still say that's a net positive because you're getting the meat in. But once you strip it back to the bare basics, like the food tastes amazing as it's intended. I just salt my stuff. I don't put anything else on it. And I've never enjoyed how I eat so much. Wow. Right? It's as if the food was put there to taste great to us because it's our diet, right? So did you want to chime in on that, George? Chris, any thoughts? Yeah, all right, Chris, you're up for trying that. Cool. Spices are good though. Stephanie. I see there's people online. What's he called? The guy who runs the Zoe app. Anyone got his name? He's on Diver CEO quite a bit. Tim Spector. Tim Spector. He's a big advocate for spices and variety. Stephanie, I'm not an expert on spices, but what I would say is, again, by reducing and taking this stuff out, when I do have spices, I'm very sensitive to them. And what that tells me is I've cleaned up my diet, things are operating correctly, and the spices are just so unnecessary. I feel like people can tolerate them now because their body's adapted to it. But I wouldn't say spices are a net positive because there's no nutrient density to it. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I'd say no, they're not good. They're not gonna like add stuff from a nutrient standpoint. But like I said about the barbecue sauce, like if it helps you eat more meat and more high protein, high fat stuff, then it's a net positive, right? Lisa says, I'm insulin resistant. Do you have any tips for preventing blood sugar drops or spikes after meals? Is it as simple as having a nutrient dense meal, or do I need to be balanced with protein, fats, and carbs? Just confirm with me, Lisa, because I don't want to get this wrong. Is this like a type 2 or type 1 diabetes type question? I want to make sure I can be completely accurate with you here. Right. Okay, got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. Blood sugar spikes are going to be prevented by reducing the carbs you put in. So that clears that up. If you prioritize high protein, high fats, you know how most people, like the staple of their meal is carbs. Like let's say they have a bolognese, right? It's like a fat bowl of pasta, a little bit of meat on top with a little bit of sauce. The actual nutrients within that meal are in the meat. So if you replaced all of that, or even cut the pasta into a quarter and then filled up the rest of the plate with meat, the sugar spike is going to go completely. You're going to be a lot healthier. You're going to lose more fat. You're going to feel more nourished, more full, etc. In terms of sugar dropping, it's hard to say. Like what I'd recommend here is if you feel the sugar dropping, just have a bit of sugar, have a piece of fruit or something like that. Obviously, try and keep it as natural as possible. I would take that route where the meals are based around proteins and fats. And Lisa, at this point, you probably know when you need a bit of sugar. Just have sugar when your body's asking for it, rather than balancing the protein, fat, and carbs in your meal. Because carbs are just sugar at the end of the day as well. So that's going to mess up your sugar spikes. So just to conclude, proteins and fats to prioritize having a nice, non-elevated blood glucose. When you do feel that dip, have some fruit or, whatever helps you feel better to maintain that balance. But by eating meals this way, you're definitely not going to have constant spikes and constant crashes, because that's the problem, right? When you have a high carb meal, you get a blood sugar spike and then you get a crash after. So it's causing it to be all over the place. Whereas if the fundamentals of your meals are around proteins and fats where you're going to have stabilized blood sugar, that's going to reduce the volatility naturally. And then when you need a pick-me-up, you just have a pick-me-up. But I'll be curious to know if you eat this way and if you don't need a pick-me-up at all. That'd be interesting. Hope that helps. Is olive oil good or bad? I love it, but it has so many calories, can easily take you over deficit. Olive oil, it's not nutrient dense. It's not the superfood people claim. It's not like, it's just, it's like, it's neutral. It's not going to add stuff. It's not necessarily bad for you. It's just a fruit, right? It's fine. So it's hard to say, Chris. It's just a neutral food. And whenever there's a neutral food, you want to consciously reduce your consumption of it or just be wary of how much you're having of it. When it's a net positive food, which is the stuff on that list I described earlier, when it's a net positive, you want to eat more of it. That's not going to be detrimental to eat more of it. When it's a neutral, it's just there, isn't it? Reduce it, I'd say. I'm half Greek Cypriot, same. So, you know, I know olive oil is good. But that's the truth of it. It's going to add calories. It's not going to fill you up. So if you're trying to lose fat, Chris, I don't know your goal specifically. I'd advise to consciously reduce the olive oil because it's not going to do much for satiety.
Is extra virgin olive oil any better, or is that just the same answer?
It's just less processed.
Okay.
But it doesn't really change the nutrient profile or anything.
Okay.
Guys, is there anything I ran through in the presentation that you want more clarity on as well? Because I did breeze through it quickly.
So you didn't mention much about vegetables. Is that just the same as fruits, pretty much?
I'd say fruits are better than vegetables. They're more nutrient dense. Vegetables, again, it's about being intuitive. Do you like vegetables is the first question. If you don't eat them. If you do like some vegetables, you move on to the next question. How does this make me feel? Does my body tolerate them? If it does tolerate them and you like them, cool, have them. If you like them and it doesn't tolerate them, don't have them. Your body's fucking rejecting it. And that's very common amongst people. They're told a certain thing at face value, do this, but really plants are just more profitable to sell than meat. Bottom line, money talks, right? Benefits the few at the top at the expense of the masses that are out of shape. So run foods that you're unsure about through that chain of questioning. Number one, do I like it? If I don't, it's an immediate don't eat it. If I do like it, but I can't tolerate it, so fruit might fit into that category because humans like fruit. We love our sugar. If you can't tolerate certain fruits, don't eat them. You'll find it's very rare, something like meat, that you can't tolerate it. Like no one's allergic to meat. I should tell you a lot about it as a food in terms of how essential it is. Right? Whereas you got things like gluten intolerances that people have, but bread is probably one of the most eaten foods around the world. It should tell you if some people can't tolerate it at all and can virtually die from it, probably not the best for you. There's all a spectrum. And you probably feel bloated after it anyway. And this isn't to say don't eat bread, like Robert alluded to earlier. You know, there's got to be an element here of balance of how well you want to dial it in, but get more in touch with your body. Listen to what it's telling you. But that's a great question, Archie, because vegetables is a really common one, and a lot of coaches are pushing it down people's necks to eat more vegetables. But it's like, it's just pointless, really.
Okay.
Chris says he needs more recipes. Yeah. I don't have any recipe books to recommend you, but like part of this talk and part of what I'm going for here with this angle is that you don't need constant variety. Something a lot of people struggle with before they work with me is I'm running out of meal ideas. Like I need to constantly change this. And they're stretching themselves thin. They've got a busy life and they're constantly trying to spend hours per day picking different ingredients, making these extravagant meals. When really, if they just ate their favorite source of protein, if they just put a slab of meat or a slab of beef mince or 3 chicken thighs on a plate, they'd be way healthier anyway. So,
Alex, what do you think about chicken mince and turkey mince?
2 seconds, Alex, I'll jump on that in a sec. If you eat in that way, where it's simply the foods you like to eat that are nutrient dense, you're going to feel way healthier anyway. And you don't need to jump between different varieties. But just to give you some kind of answer here, I don't know what to suggest outside of asking ChatGPT, to be honest. Chris, if I've got something, I can dig you something up. All right, I can dig you up some kind of ebook if I've got something. Shit answer. Sorry, Alex. Hello. You said what about chicken mince and turkey mince?
Yeah,
How do you like it compared to another source of protein?
I don't mind having it because I think it's a bit healthier. But
Okay.
I thought I'd ask you the question first.
Okay, you don't mind having it. Is there any meat that you love to eat?
I like steaks. I like mincemeat. I like all my meat.
Okay, so you prefer beef to chicken and turkey.
Mm,
Eat that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
better for you. You're tasting the additional nutrients that come from the beef. You prefer it. I would just eat beef
Okay.
until you fancy chicken, because there might be a couple of unique things in chicken
Mm,
you crave. So then just eat chicken on that day. But I'm like you. Most people are like you. Beef is the staple. It's the most nutrient dense meat there is.
and then what about fish?
Fish is, again, not something I'd recommend eating religiously. Eat when you fancy it. If you think about evolution, unless you're from a small island country where the majority of your diet through evolution has been fish, you want to keep it as natural as possible. So living in the UK, fish isn't a massive part of our diet. So, like, again, you just got to be intuitive. Like when you start eating this way, you'll be so in touch with your senses. When you fancy
Yeah.
fish, your body will tell you it.
Okay.
It's like a magic trick. That said, I typically eat fish once a week. I'll have 2 fillets of wild salmon, and that's it. And we don't need a lot of fish because we haven't evolved eating a lot of fish, right? Especially living in the UK. But if we
Yeah.
lived in the Mediterranean, perhaps our requirements would be different and we'd actually crave more fish because we've evolved eating it more.
Okay.
As a baseline, I would say, because we're all from the UK, we've all probably evolved in a similar way. And just for general health, have fish once a week, ideally wild caught.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much. I've got to shoot off because I've got to go to the toilet. So
Pleasure to have you, Alex. See you later, mate.
See you later, mate. Ta-ra.
All right.
Ta-ra. Speak to you soon, hopefully, actually.
Drop me a message, bud.
All right, pal. Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
I have
Well-
a question.
Yes, Robert.
So, and it's a shame that fellow's going because I think it could apply to him. You're saying when we're hungry, eat, but a lot of people work a job where if they're hungry, they can't just eat because, like that lad there, he's on the checkout at Asda. He can't just suddenly crack out
The
food
stick.
or start eating the customer's food. So how does it sounds dramatic, but if you're hungry and you can't eat for 2 hours, you're kind of starving yourself. So how does that impact on this kind of eating lifestyle?
Yeah. Obviously, there's a balance to it, just like wanting to go out for a pizza or burger with your mates, right? There's a balance to that compared to always being on. So you just have to find the system of eating that works well for you. If you're on a really long shift or you're really busy between the hours of 12 p.m. and 5 p.m., it probably makes sense to have some kind of late breakfast, high protein, high fat. It's going to keep you full all day and then eat again in the evening. There might be an element at the start of you starving yourself, like, waiting a couple of hours, but your body will adapt to that quickly and it will learn to send you hunger signals. It will become in tune with you, and there'll be a regular pattern of when you feel hungry. So you've just got to build out something that works for you. For me personally, I don't eat until about 1 p.m. The first day I did that, I was starving myself because I was so used to eating breakfast. But now I don't get any hunger until 1 p.m. And I'm just able to focus on my work. I'll eat my first meal. I'll get back to it. I'll be hungry again at about 7 o'clock. Like, your body's highly adaptive to exactly how you want it to be. If you eat the right meals, you're not going to be constantly hungry and grazing. That's people's problem. They eat the wrong meals. They eat the wrong food. And that's why they constantly have this need to eat. If you just have a high protein, high fat meal, you're full all day virtually. I don't know how to explain it. It's crazy. So simple as well.
Sorry to interrupt, do you personally yourself, do you go to the gym having not eaten
Sometimes.
and you feel energized to push yourself to failure, let's say?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say, is it optimal? I don't know. Logically, having food in would probably help you push harder, but it depends on what you're optimizing for. I'm not trying to build loads of muscle. I just go to the gym because it keeps me sharp. So I'm content with progress being a bit slower at times because I haven't eaten. Or maybe that's just a limiting belief. Hey, maybe I can still get stronger. So logically, if you're prioritizing muscle growth, it would make sense to eat before. But again, your body adapts pretty quickly and you can train without food if you've done it 1 or 2 times. That's all it takes.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
All good.
I was going to say on that quickly. I probably had my first meal. Well, I haven't actually eaten at all today, and it's almost 4 p.m. Ever since I stopped having carbs for breakfast, for example, I didn't get hungry. Like at school, I'd have cereal for breakfast, and then it would be break time. And because I've had that sugar crash, and my body's like really, really hungry, I'll go and get something carby at break time, and then that will keep me going until lunch. And it's like a continuous up and down of, well, I presume insulin spike. Since cutting that out, there's obviously like an adjustment period, but I don't get hungry until, well, it's 4 p.m. and I'm not hungry, right? And I know that I'll eat everything I need to eat later on in the day without feeling, well, starved. And I think that's just how I can stay pretty lean year round. Like, it's impossible to overeat if, as you said, you're eating the right nutrients. Simply cutting out carbs and having them later on in the evening has meant that I'm not hungry throughout the day because I haven't got that like addiction per se. I think majority of people are addicted to carbs. Like the moment I start having carbs early on, I actually start craving carbs later on. And it's really weird how it works. But if people are having toast in the morning and then they have a tea and they're like, oh, I need some extra sugar. So they have a biscuit with their tea. If you didn't have the toast in the morning, you wouldn't have the biscuit with the tea.
Hmm.
it's like addictive habitual eating is causing people to overeat. Uh, That's just from my personal experience, what I've noticed, and it's just cutting out and having protein, fats, and maybe carbs later on in the day. Yeah, that's just how it's going for me. And I've learned that all from you. And I'm feeling the best, the sharpest, probably looking the best as well. Just from making those simple swaps.
Yeah. Thanks for the share. Carbs aren't the enemy, but people overeat carbs. They base their meals around carbs, right? It's got to be cereal in the morning or oats or toast. And then lunch has got to be bread. Like you can't just have meat, you got to put it in a sandwich or like they're everywhere. And like you said, George, when you eat high amount of carbs, you get a sugar spike and then you get a crash, right? And when you get that crash, what do you want to get yourself back to that neutral level? More sugar, which is carbs. So you're just constantly going through the cycle of spiking and crashing, spiking and crashing. You're consuming a bunch of calories. No one's productive anymore. 100%. Yeah, there was another element of what you said as well that was interesting, but it's lost my mind. Yeah. What Stephanie said is spot on. We're still hungry all the time because our bodies aren't getting what it actually needs. Correct. When you give it the fundamental building blocks it needs, what we've evolved eating, what we fucking love the flavor of, you feel it, you get in shape, your body works with you to lose the fat. And let's talk about flavor a second, right? Because people are like, oh, I love carbs. I love grains. I mean, do you? Like, do you eat oats on their own or do you coat them in sugar? Do you eat pasta on its own or do you coat it in sauce? Do you eat rice on its own or do you have stuff with it? You can have a steak on its own. That tastes fucking amazing. It's a very simple switch. I would say if you guys take one thing away from today, two things. One, only eat when you're hungry. Or like Robert says, we can build it around our routine. Don't like unnecessarily eat all the time. Two, change your breakfast to either nothing or high protein, high fat, and just watch what happens that day to your hunger. What else we got, guys? I mean, my meeting after this moved, so if you guys have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
So, like, does it take a while to get used to this? And like you say, follow your instincts. Is it literally like, if I start this tomorrow, it's just gonna start working, or is it like a period where you need to get used to it?
As with anything, there's a brief adjustment period, but you'd be willing to commit to this because you'd feel better right away.
Okay.
What I wouldn't suggest is drastically taking the carbs down immediately because carbs are an energy source, fats are an energy source. If you're used to constantly running off carbs and they immediately go, your body's going to be a bit fucked. So slowly reduce the amount of carbs in your meals. I did a video on Instagram about this recently. I gave the example of 2 slices of toast and 2 eggs as like a breakfast people have that's healthy. I said, take 1 slice of toast off and add in 2 eggs. That's going to be the same amount of calories, but you're getting more fat, more protein, and more nutrients. That's like a perfect transition. You're still getting some carbs that your body's used to running off, but you're making a smooth transition to more fats and essentially more nutrients. But it's just a better life. Like I've never enjoyed my meals so much because I'm purely eating like what I fancy. Food has never tasted so good. Energy is better than it's ever been. Like the transition period, do it steadily, but there's nothing to be concerned about because very quickly your energy will be more stable. You'll be more in control of your cravings. You'll see some fat loss. Just happy days, really. No drawbacks to it at all. And this is why I feel like this is the unlock this is the way, because every other approach seems to have some kind of drawback. But with this approach, it's like you're eating what you love, you're not eating anything you dislike, you haven't got a track, you simply stop eating when you're full, you haven't got stress about supplements.
So you don't take any supplements?
No. If I'm trying to lock in with the gym, I'll take some creatine. Why not?
Okay.
I think creatine is good, guys. But if you eat a lot of red meat, you get a shit ton of creatine anyway.
I'm curious, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I'm a kid of the 80s and the 90s. So I grew up on a wonderfully healthy diet of McCain's microchips and Kellogg's Pop Tarts. And that was a healthy meal when I was a kid. I'm guessing that you and George are either brothers or cousins. So did you have a similar diet, nutrition experience growing up, or were you sort of educated either through food, through school, or through your parents? Is this something that is ingrained in you, or have you come to this later on in your, I'm assuming, 20s?
Love the question. My mum, God bless her, put so much effort in. She cooked for us every night. It was always fresh food. She never skimped out with frozen meals. I wasn't allowed KFC until I was like 16. So I'm very fortunate in how I've been raised, and I wasn't an obese kid. And I appreciate that if you are obese now, it is going to be harder to make the transition. You're going to have ties to it. You're going to have traumas. You're going to have shit that I haven't been through. So I completely appreciate that. But bottom line, my mum didn't have this education that I have that I'm teaching you today. So I was still eating grains with every meal. My breakfast was cereal. My lunch was bread. My dinner was pasta. It was fresh, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what the body required. And I was pretty skinny fat, which isn't actually healthy. Before I started locking in with the gym and becoming this personal trainer that I am now, again, my mom, God bless her, and I'm so thankful for the majority of the values that I was given, but I wasn't left in a healthy spot despite the meals being cooked fresh. So we probably had pretty similar foods that we were raised with. Yeah. Because I don't want to go into too much depth around this, but like all carbs are the same. Like whether you have Pop Tarts or oats or cornflakes or Cocoa Pops, whether it's sweet or not doesn't change how it acts in the body. If you eat a bowl of sugar, a bowl of rice is the same thing. It acts the same way in the body. It's not to terrify you guys, it's just the truth. And I know that, and I still eat rice. So it's cool. It's cool. But just because something's sweet, it doesn't mean it's not high in sugar. It doesn't mean it's not going to spike your blood glucose, cause you to crash, cause you to crave more sugar, to get it back up again. And you just fucking going up and down through the cycle.
It was the 80s. We didn't know then.
Hey, you were
There
probably
wasn't
healthier
even the
than
internet.
You're probably healthier than people are today, though. You know, less propaganda, less beliefs on you.
No, I grew up fat.
Yeah,
I grew up fat. Yeah. The pick and mix was my best friend.
yeah. I appreciate that. In terms of the statistics, though, you know, it is higher now. Like the rates are,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's fucked. It keeps going up and up and up and up and up. You know, people need to know this.
Christ.
Like, if you guys, again, take something else away from this, if this genuinely makes logical sense to you and you don't think I'm some conspiracy theorist, apply it, share it with people.